Alright, day one recap. Well, technically day two. Day one of New York, day two of the series. So I let Phil sleep in a little bit. So I ordered from Pick a Bagel on DoorDash because I didn't feel like going out by myself. And I got 2 cream cheese bagel sandwiches and then 4 just assorted bagels, thinking, oh, we'll just have a bagel feast. So we only ate the bagel sandwiches.
So much food.
And
I had everything bagel with cream, chive, green onion? No, chives.
No, it was green onion.
Green onion, sour cream, or cream cheese, rather.
Yep, and I had a sesame bagel with plain cream cheese.
And mine was really good.
Mine was
very,
delicious.
very oniony.
So after we ate, we walked down from our hotel down on 5th Avenue on the way to One Vanderbilt for the summit experience.
Yeah, we were deciding, we debated all the different lookouts, and it was so cold yesterday. We're like, can't be outside, and that really just left World Trade Center and One Vanderbilt. And so we went with One Vanderbilt.
The reason that we went with One Vanderbilt over World Trade Center is I don't know how I would feel at One World Trade Center. I understand that many people feel comfortable and many people have fun there. Being that we were alive during then, I don't know if I want to go there and have fun. Maybe we would have had a great time.
That and One Vanderbilt's more of an experience. It's not just go up and...
It's more than just a lookout. It's all the different rooms. So we got to One Vanderbilt. Side note, you enter right by Grand Central Station and not under the address sign that says One Vanderbilt. The door lady will chase you out. So you check in. They immediately give you booties and sunglasses. And then you stand in a extremely crowded hallway.
Before that, they take a photo when you first get there, like before you even get the sunglasses.
Okay, so I haven't seen a lot of the Marvel movies, but there was a Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, because I'm that old, and that's the only one that I've seen. And there's this, one of the monsters has hands. That's like 3 things that goes like, Mah!
That would be Doc Ock.
That one. So basically you put your whole face in a Doc Ock hand, and it 3D scans your face. And they have you take your mask off, which I'm not thrilled about.
Oh, could you imagine a masked cloud?
That would have been way funnier. I wish that we had left the masks on for that. So you put your face in the Doc Ock thing, it scans you.
Well, we held our breath, and I was like, scan, 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 scan.
Then you're in a very long line for the elevators. Elevator, it's all mirrors and lights and whooshing sounds. The elevator was fine. It was pretty fast. And you go up to, I believe, the 89th floor?
82nd?
No, because we end at like 91 or 92. High 80s. And the first floor is all mirrors. So you have to have those sunglasses.
Yeah, because if it's sunny, you're just like... Oof.
And just like at the Shard, which is our...
Frame of reference?
Yeah, our frame of reference. Everyone's parked in the windows taking 1,000 Instagram photos.
And they don't go anywhere. They're just like, this is my spot.
No, I would say they moved more than at One Vanderbilt than they do in the Shard.
Yeah.
In the Shard, they take a picnic and they just camp out there. But we also went in the morning. We didn't go in the evening, which is when we usually go to the Shard.
Yeah. It's interesting, as you further go along, you'll have the same views of the city. It's just, when you get to the 2nd floor, you'll have the same view of the city, just like 1 floor higher, and no one's camped out of the windows.
Yeah. Everyone had their coats just thrown on the ground against the wall.
Like, this is my coat spot.
But it was a lot of fun. And then, so that's your first room, is the big mirror room. The second room is the Mercury Jelly Bean room.
Yeah, the melted jelly beans.
Yeah, I don't really understand that room.
They're like this giant artwork installation, and I'm like, it's not even a full room. It's like a little part of a little floor. I was not impressed by it. I don't get it.
It was less about the size. I get that it was reflection, and I get that it was clouds, and it was shifting perspective, but it just seemed like kind of a letdown after like the big room. So you do the electric jelly bean room, and then were the balls next?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So they're each experiences. There's reflection, which is the mirror room. There's, I don't remember.
Inflection.
I don't remember what the jelly bean room was called.
There's all flexions.
And then there's the balloon room, which is called air. And they just have silver, super reflective balloons floating around in there.
The people kept popping.
Well, there were 2 popped while we were in there. And at first I was like, I'm not going to touch a balloon. And then I touched a balloon, and it was fun. And then Phil donked me in the head with a balloon. And it made a really loud sound.
Did it make a loud pain?
It wasn't painful at all. It's a balloon. But it just made a really loud sound.
Yeah, I felt
surprisingly loud.
I felt like I donked you pretty hard.
But that was a fun room.
Yeah, that one was funner than I thought it'd be. They have fans going, so it always circulates them, but they're done in such a way that they just kind of get stuck in the top corner. And then they have like fishing nets.
They're like butterfly nets.
Yeah, they're like on a stick. That's for fishing.
It's a butterfly net. It's a giant butterfly net.
To catch the balloons.
Any escapees. So after that room, you take an escalator up, and then it's kind of like reflection part 2.
But with a hole in the floor, so you can see everyone doing it down below.
Yeah. So it's fully reflective, and they warn you, like, make sure that you wear tights or leggings or something.
I didn't even think about that.
But you don't wear dresses, so that wouldn't really be a thought for you. But as someone who wears dresses, I was wearing leggings, and you could still see my tummy a little bit. So I don't really care if someone sees my stomach. But just note that if you're wearing a dress or a skirt, it's full view. So reflect part 2. We didn't spend as much time there because we spent a lot of time downstairs. I wish we had spent more time upstairs and less time downstairs, because we could have gotten a lot of the same shots that we wanted without the massive crowds around.
Yeah, because up there it's really chill. More.
One thing that's also noted is that they don't require masks once you're upstairs, because that's inane. We never took our masks down.
No one else really did. A couple people really took that to heart, but majority of people kept the masks on.
There were a lot of people that took them off.
For the photos.
Yeah. I mean, you go up there for the photos.
Yeah. I think the nice thing about the secondary reflection room that's above the first reflection room is that people don't linger because they've already done it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is the same thing again, so they just go on. If you're there, you're like, you pretty much have the thing to yourself.
So the special thing for that room, for the second floor, directly above the jelly bean room, is the little glass overlook, where you can sit, lay down, stand, and just be completely enclosed in glass off the side of the building, which I loved. I thought it was fun. He still went, and we took a photo there, which honestly didn't look any different than if we had taken the photo. We should have sat down. I disagree with the guy. Because the floor is glass too, but from the direction that they took the photo, you couldn't see the floor at all, so there was no point.
I don't know.
Phil just was massively uncomfortable. He doesn't trust glass.
I don't trust the fallibility of man.
Well then, how do you do anything?
I can't.
So, after that room is the results of your Doc Ock scan.
So it's like it's a whole wall that's projected at like a plane that's flying through clouds. Well, it doesn't feel like forward motion. It just feels like the clouds are coming to you for some reason.
Okay, so it's a screensaver.
Yeah.
It's 100% a screensaver, but they add your face 3D scanned in as a cloud, which when you're looking at it, you're like, I'm a cloud, and then like 3 seconds later, you're like, that wasn't that cool. For the build up to that.
Healy's face was more like, well, she wasn't quite a cloud. Like, it was just the front of her face. It wasn't like the sides of her face. It was just like here forward. It could have been a photo, and then it was just cloud. For me, it was like half my head was stuck out of the cloud.
They looked exactly the same.
Yeah. You know what the worst part about taking photos in a mirrored room? It's like a bald spot. Like, I took a photo up, but it was just like bald spot.
So the cloud room is the last room of the experience. Then you go through the gift shop, which has fun, overpriced things. And then there's a little cafe on the other side. There's a cafe, and then there's the outside portion, which we thought was going to be freezing, but we were so sweaty.
Yeah,
because, A, those mirrors reflect all the heat, and you're basically in a greenhouse. And we were wearing long johns underneath our pants.
And our arms were hot because we're carrying our jackets.
Yeah, there's no coat check. So we were roasting, and it felt really good to get outside.
Since we're outside for so long,
Inside
for so long in the hot, we were able to stay outside for a while.
Oh, also, we picked up our souvenir photos. If you purchased your souvenir photos when you bought your ticket, they were $22 versus $25 if you bought them there. So we got 3 prints, and supposedly we have digital too. I haven't really looked into that though.
We got an email.
I didn't get an email.
Yeah?
Yeah. So after one Vanderbilt, we went downstairs. We tried to go to the New York Public Library, and although we got into the library, the only reason I wanted to go was to see the Winnie the Pooh exhibit.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh.
They have the original dolls from Winnie the Pooh that Winnie the Pooh are based on. And Piglet was so small. And I had been weighing, should we go, should we not go?
Screw it.
So we went in, and it's closed due to staffing concerns.
Yeah.
So that sucked, and we left immediately.
I mean, we got some photos in there. It was nice. It was really nice.
So then we walked up Broadway, and we went through Times Square, which is just as thrilling as Piccadilly Circus. I'd say I enjoyed Times Square more than I enjoyed Piccadilly Circus.
Which is, you didn't enjoy Piccadilly Circus at all.
Yeah, I really didn't like Piccadilly Circus. And I mean, in fairness, I don't love Times Square.
Yeah, so at that point we were hungry, and he was like, "Oh, that's a pastrami place that I've read about on the list of best pastrami places in the
Okay,
area."
so the name of the pastrami place that we went to is like
USA
Brooklyn Diner. What I failed to remember was that was not what I had read on the list. I had read USA Brooklyn Deli. I mean, something similar like that. They're 3 very similar words.
I bet you the diner really enjoys that the deli is very good.
Yeah. So we didn't have reservations or anything, and we were still not eating in restaurants, so we got one pastrami sandwich and 1 thing of matzo ball soup to go.
It took 25 minutes.
Yeah, it took a really long time. I would not recommend it. But in the moment, I was still like, yeah, we're getting the best pastrami sandwich because it was on that list. So we walked back to the hotel, and we ate, and the pastrami was eh.
It was kind of really fatty. Like, really, really fatty. And it gave Haley heartburn. It was so fatty.
The thing is, I've never had pastrami before. I love corned beef. Well, I love salt beef. I love salt beef, and I love roast beef, so I figured pastrami, of course I'll like it. And they said it was on rye, and that was not rye, which was good because I don't like rye.
I was going to say, it's either the best rye I've ever had, or it was just not rye.
Very fair. To be fair, that was the best rye I've ever had, because it didn't taste like rye. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. While we were waiting for the bagels in the morning, I entered a bunch of Broadway lotteries. What those are they're super discounted tickets, and they only release like 30 to 50 for each show.
You're basically backfilling all the empty seats after they sell all the tickets.
That's not true.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they just kind of fill the empty spots after all the tickets are sold.
No, they reserve seats for the Broadway for the lottery.
Why?
It's like an exciting thing. That's pretty much what Rush is what you're talking about, is backfilling those empty seats.
Oh, doing it the day of the show, yeah?
Yeah. What the lottery is they release a certain number of tickets for a set really low price.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Everything between $10 for the Hamilton lottery, $15 for Assassins, but most of them are in the $30 to $45 range. And I think I entered for 8 or 9 shows, and we got 2 standbys for The Lion King, which is up here as to in terms of shows I wanted to see. But we actually won Aladdin tickets. So today we're going to go see Aladdin for $30 each. Technically $34 because there's a $4 service fee.
It's cheaper than if we had seen the tour when we went Best of Broadway.
Yeah, that's a steal for seeing a Broadway show. I tend to have a Broadway curse, which I don't want to say too loudly. I've been supposed to go to a Broadway show almost every time I've come to New York, and it's never happened. To the point where, I don't know if you remember a few years back when Broadway went on strike, I was supposed to see Legally Blonde that day. So, Aladdin was admittedly not at the highest, but Phil loves Aladdin. And My main hesitancy is seeing Aladdin because of the Robin Williams factor.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Thanks.
Sorry. It's not that, like, I did love Robin Williams, but I'm not like, oh, Robin Williams. But the genie is so iconically his character that I'm worried about seeing someone else do it. But I know I'll enjoy it. It's been running since 2014, so it's got to be a decent show.
Wow.
So we don't know where our seats are. They're going to email us a few hours before the show. So while we were eating the sandwich and the soup, we paid for the tickets. The soup.
I think there's a face right here.
What?
Every once in a while there'll be a square that pops up that says there's a face right here.
I'm sorry, my arm is a face. Anyway, that matzo ball soup was life-changing. Oh my god, that matzo ball soup. It was one big matzo ball. And when literally the menu said lots of chicken, they were not kidding. That was a lot of chicken in there. It was $13.50 for a great amount of soup. We should have just gotten 2 soups, because that soup had it all over the sandwich.
Yeah, the soup was like... Yeah, if you ever go to the USA Brooklyn Diner, just outside, it's literally on that one, like...
It's in Times Square.
Wow,
It's the Times Square neighborhood. If our hotel can call itself the Times Square, then that certainly can.
Well, it's technically in Times Square. It's like 3 large steps off of the main square. It's like
but
so
yeah,
close.
So get the matzo ball soup. So we came back to the room, relaxed for a little bit. I had already pulled my insoles at this point, but my feet...
You pulled them out when we went outside and got cold.
At the very top of one Vanderbilt, I took my insoles out of my shoes. Because although these are really nice, very expensive insoles, they were rubbing my feet in a way that I wasn't expecting. So it was very painful. When we got back to the room, took some ibuprofen, figured it would be fine. And then we walked from our hotel down to the Met, which was about 1.5 miles. Got lost in Central Park, which now you can say you've gotten lost in Central Park too.
It wasn't lost, per se. We would have eventually found it.
No, we were going the wrong direction. We would have found natural history.
No, we would have found 5th Street, eventually.
You mean 5th Avenue?
Yes. Eventually. We were heading that direction. We entered the park, and instead of going north, we immediately headed east for some reason.
I mean, technically, we would have gotten there. It's just we had time tickets.
Yeah, that was... And it was from 5 to 6 time ticket. We got there at 5:15.
Yeah. So Phil got to experience the Met for the first time, which I'm a little jealous about.
Oh, so big. That was impressive. And I love that they opened up the like, catalog.
Yeah, the Met's doing something called visible storage right now, which is new for them, and basically
I think it's awesome because museums have so much of the catalog that never gets to see displays. The problem is when you display something, it's a lot of work. You have to, and these are just like what information we know about these things in storage. You have to have your app because we're not doing anything. You'll just have to literally pull up the catalog number on the app, which is wonderful because if I was really caring about those millions of tankards they have, I could literally sit there and read about everyone or the information they have about everyone. And it's not polished information either because because the stuff you see on the placards in the main museum is vetted and it's, research and stuff, but this is like the stuff that's like research notes and stuff. It is so open, it is very cool.
So we started off and ended off at the same place, which was the Temple of Dandor, which is my favorite part of the Met. I love the Temple of Dandor. I also love the South American art, considering my degree. However, it was closed.
Yeah.
They closed off the entire Mesoamerican art wing.
American, too. Like, and Native American stuff.
Native American, yes. But that open storage area was American. It was just Revolutionary era. So we also went to the special Disney exhibit while we were there.
Oh my!
Which I went in with pretty low expectations.
What's normally there in that area?
It's an exhibition hall.
Oh, well.
And I mean, I like Disney. I wouldn't say like I'm a crazy Disney fangirl by any means.
If you saw your subs, you would.
Huh?
On YouTube.
Yeah, you'd think that I'm a crazy Disney person, but I'm actually not. Like,
That's someone with an addiction saying they're not addicted.
I'm addicted to travel, and those are travel channels.
And it's just interesting to watch, like with the YouTubers.
Anyway.
There's drama. There's YouTube drama between the Disney YouTubers.
Anyway,
it's wonderful.
So we went to the Disney exhibit, which I hadn't been planning on going to because supposedly they're normally doing like timed entries, and most people don't get in. But we just got in line, waited for maybe 10 minutes. That was like a nothing line.
Yeah, I didn't feel like 10 minutes. The line was constantly moving, so.
But yeah, the exhibit had a lot of original artwork from the movies and objects that inspired them, and the concept art, which was just gorgeous.
So when you walk up to the Met and it has whatever inspiring Disney or whatever it's called, right? And it has literally like
a ceramic figurine.
Yeah, and you're like, that's what I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to go in there and it was going to be like figurines and stuff that...
And there are figurines, to be fair.
They took like inspiration from, but it's like, no, they have that, but they show you what the inspiration, like what it resulted in. And they show like the concept art, where it's like this concept art is heavily weighed by the fact that how the clocks are shaped and stuff, and it was
really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And the original cells from like Cinderella.
Oh yeah, and they had a Snow White original cell, like oof.
And just showing the design process, and
you
don't think about Disney artwork as high art. However, when you see the concept art and the really stylized versions, you see how incredibly talented these artists are.
Yeah, they're purely artists.
It made me like Snow White, and I do not like Snow White, despite being married to a Philip.
But yeah, seriously, the concept art brings something so much. Every artist has his own little, like what the story's going to be before they settle on it. And it was wonderful. And then they had the, my favorite part was they had the character references.
For most of the characters for Beauty and the Beast. Then they would say like little tweaks on him, like no toilet mouth for Lumiere with one of his candlesticks.
If the candlestick opened all the way, it looked like his hand was a toilet.
And they said no toilet mouth. And all of the approved art had an OK stamp, which makes me...
And then it was signature too, or initialed. But it was like, yeah, and then there was...
little notes about like...
for these little dongle, like little things on his wrist, or... like don't bend his...
Make sure the bend is curved rather than looking broken. It was very fun. So after the Disney exhibit, we went...
Oh, another thing. For Beauty and the Beast, the live action version is so much closer to the source material. Well, not source material, but source references. It's phenomenal. Like Lumiere, they had like the candle that
candelabras.
That they referenced him as, and he looks just like that in the live action.
And the clocks with Cogsworth.
Yeah.
You can 100% see where those design elements came from.
And Mrs. Potts was amazing.
Mrs. Potts was adorable. So we just wandered around the museum. We went through some medieval art. We honestly spent most of our time in the Egyptian wing.
Yeah. We got lost a bunch. So
it's
just trying to find like
the
old masters or whatever. And it was just like, yeah.
And even though we were there for 4 hours, we didn't have enough time to see even a tenth of it. There's so much that you haven't even seen.
So the ballerina statue.
Yeah, so it was like 8 o'clock, and I'm like, crap, we haven't gone to the old masters yet. So we run up there, and I was trying to figure out what do I want to show him, just to make sure that he gets to see the vibe of that. So I asked the guard, where's the ballerina? Because I was totally turned around at this point. And he said, down that hall, make a left. So we ran down the hall, saw some really interesting social commentary arts, and we found the ballerina.
Yeah, there was an art that was talking about a women representation in the museum. It said,
less than 5% of artists in the Met are women. However, 95%
85.
No, it was 90.
It was 95.
95% of nudes in the museum are depicting women. So does a woman have to be naked to get into the Met? which I thought was a very interesting commentary.
And it's the statement was worded, it's very strong.
Yeah. So after we found the ballerina, we found the Picassos, we found Monet.
The Van Gogh, the Van Gogh. That's how the British pronounce it.
Well,
It's
I'm
French.
British.
How would the French pronounce it? It's French.
I would assume Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Anyway. So we saw some of the old masters race through.
We saw the
Washington crossing the Delaware.
Oh my!
I warned him it was big.
Yeah, they shouldn't warn me. It was the wall. The wall is like they probably had to make the room bigger to fit it.
It's such a big painting.
And the frame for it is like
the figures on it are life size. Like you think of how big you are as a human being, and it's that on the wall. And there's probably 6 or 7 feet on each side of it, just going up, and then it's wider than it is tall. So it's a massive painting.
the frame is so big. It's no longer a frame. It's an architectural piece.
Yeah.
It's like and it was definitely interesting.
And
They're not supposed to stand in the boat, Bert.
You're not supposed to. Even the horses were standing in the boat. So, I'm minorly obsessed with Don't Eat the Pictures. That's a large reason that I got my archaeology degrees. I was obsessed with Don't Eat the Pictures growing up.
Don't Eat the Pictures is a
Sesame Street production
in the early 80s.
In which the Sesame Street characters all go to the Met, and Big Bird is looking for his best friend Snuffleupagus, who is still imaginary at this point in Sesame Street lore, and the museum's closing, and they run in. Snuffy and Big Bird run into an Egyptian prince and his invisible cat. And they have to help the prince answer a riddle, which is where is today meets yesterday. Spoiler alert, it's in a museum. So they become friends. Cookie Monster is instructed and sings a jolly little song about don't eat the pictures.
Because he sees all the still lives. And like,
yeah, and Oscar the Grouch sings Broken But Beautiful about all of the statuary. It's really a top-notch Sesame Street production.
It gave me an idea, right? Like, what I thought that, would be nice is, so they have this whole song about broken.
Broken but beautiful.
Yeah, and in it shows your standard statues that are headless and armless and stuff, but then it features a lot of just really small pieces of statue, right? And I thought that would be a great exhibition, right? Just
small statues?
No, here's this chunk of a head we found. We can't really display it because it doesn't.
There were plenty of heads displayed.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like that idea.
I would like to see where are the noses? Lost to time. Anyway, so
yeah,
here's the end,
time of the void of.
In Don't Eat the Pictures, the Temple of Dandor is heavily, heavily featured. That's where the prince lives.
Does he live there?
Yeah.
Why was he in the...
That's why he came to the Met. He came with the Temple of Dandor. Which means he was owned by a private collection until 1957.
Was he yelling at people when they were start carving in their names into it?
Probably.
What I want to know is, what was he not... He wasn't at his house when they found him.
Maybe.
He wanders?
In Sesame Street lore, the spirit attaches to it. You gotta also remember, in the Sesame Street movie, Big Bird straight up yells at Osiris.
Yeah, Osiris tries to pull a fast one on the prince. Is like, I don't have this feather to weigh your heart.
Once they answer the riddle correctly at the Temple of Dandor, they then go to the main steps of the Met leading to the second floor, which is also how you get to heaven, which I prefer the Temple of Dandor. So you're supposed to weigh your heart against a feather to make sure that it's lighter than a feather. Then you get to become a shiny little star. And they didn't bring a feather, but thankfully Big Bird came prepared.
It was his job. He's doing the weighing. You bring
Osiris.
Osiris brings the feather.
But Osiris didn't have a feather, and then
Because
he's looks like you'll never be a
God.
star in the sky. And this 6-year-old Egyptian god is like, ah. And Big Bird's like, take one of mine. That's not fair. So yeah, Big Bird yells at God, and then the kid's heart is heavier than a feather until...
And he yells at the god again.
Big Bird yells at the god again.
He's like, yeah.
I love him, and he will be happy.
He's been here for 4,000 years. You have some empathy.
So then, once the prince is hugging Big Bird. Obviously, his heart is lighter than a feather, because if you're hugging Big Bird, yeah, it's going to be lighter than a feather. So then Osiris is like, okay, come on, kid, you're going to be a star. So then they both go up the stairs to...
The cat gets to become a star, too.
Oh, the cat becomes a cat again, too.
Yeah.
Because he's been invisible this whole time. He's just been a caller.
Yeah, but first of all, if you... What did the cat do to become a star? He didn't have a heart light as a feather. He didn't solve the riddle.
He was caught. Maybe he solved his own riddle. They were
Years
a package
ago.
deal, yeah.
And he's just waiting for the kid
And
to figure it out.
Osiris was just like, okay, cat, you're cool. And the cat's like, I've been waiting here 3,999 years. I solved my riddle in the first year. The answer was meow. Anyway, so we ended at the Temple of Dandor, where we began. And we were the last people there, which was an experience that I've never had, where it's just us.
When we first got there, because we like beelined it out at about 8:30 to it.
You mean 5:20? When we first got there, or when we got there at the end?
At the end.
Yeah.
It was 30 minutes to close, and we got there, and there was a few parties just kind of laying on the stones on the outside, like the stone seating area. That,
Just
like,
relaxing, super quiet.
Yeah, and then like
And it was
they all
chill.
just kind of left.
Little by little, they filtered out, and it was just us.
Yeah, and like...
And the Temple of Dandor by night already is incredible.
It's gorgeous.
And then add in that you're the only people in there besides the guard.
Yeah.
That
so
was...
We literally just got selfies up there with.
A magical experience. Then we walked out of the Met and then had one of the most painful walks of our life.
Yeah, we had...
The 1.5 miles back to the hotel.
We could have taken the bus, but we had no... We had... Our bills were
We
too
had
big.
the incorrect denominations for the bus. So we walked back. The last thing we did before coming back to the hotel room was pick up Shake Shack, which you might be saying, why'd you get fast food? We don't have Shake Shacks. We're on... I mean, there are some in Washington, but not on our side of the state, so... We got Shake Shack, which brought us back to life.
But nothing but a greasy...
Greasy cheeseburger, greasy fries, and milkshakes,
That's right.
which were phenomenal. Everything about that was great. Our final step count for yesterday. Is that going to be reversed?
I don't know. 34,578 steps.
Which translates to...
16.62 miles.
So...
We burned 2,500 calories.
Which we then immediately replaced at Shake Shack, and then some.
I said we climbed 24 floors.
I believe it. So, in the course of the day, I managed to get the biggest blister I've ever had in my life. Phil got some just normal blisters. It kind of wrecked us for today, which is Sunday.
Yeah, we were supposed to be out early at like 7 o'clock, and it's currently 11:15, and we're still in the hotel.
We could barely walk. We can still barely walk, so I don't really know what we're going to do.
I can walk better. I went down and got some,
Well, now I can walk because I have an N95 taped to my foot.
and your tape's falling off. You gotta do a tape line like to the
I
side.
will. So,
Yeah.
hopefully we have a fun day today. I know we're going to go see Aladdin, and then besides that,
Probably take the ferry to Staten Island.
the Staten Island Ferry. We're super into what we do in the shadows, too, so. Bye.